Corey. Glad I got such a big response on that Notre Dame comment. That was good. Good to know. I feel welcome here. It has been a brutal winter down here. It's even a little worse in Minnesota, where I'm from. You might have heard of Sven and Ole, these Norwegian guys up there. If you've heard about these guys, they're confused. They're getting a little cabin fever. They went out ice fishing last week. They cut the first hole and they heard a voice. It said, "There are no fish under that hole." So they're like, wow. So they move over 10 feet, drill another hole, same thing. "There are no fish under that hole." They're like, wow. They move it over, they dig down, same thing. "There are no fish under that hole." And Sven says, "Is that the voice of God?" "No, it's the voice of the manager of the ice arena. There are no fish under that hole." So things are rough up in Minnesota. They're rough down here. I understand Mr. Abel is somewhere in the room. He's 145 years old. I'm going to meet him. Guy.
The check had better clear now.
I've read a little bit. I know you guys were founded in 1908, and it's an honor to be down here working with you guys. I know you have 27 different companies. I'm excited to be here to talk to you guys about culture, to talk to you about communication. That's my real love, is construction and culture and communication and where they meet. And if any one of you can be a little more aware, and I'm hoping every one of you is a little bit more aware, have a little bit more skill tomorrow than you have today, I will feel like I did my job. I take this personally, I take it seriously, and I know you do too. You guys are all in important work, whether you're in the office, whether you're in the field. There's hazards every day, and I know we're going to talk about safety. We're also not going to forget productivity and quality. You guys put out a quality product, all your different companies. Some of the examples come from my expertise, which is demo saw safety. I sold the saws and blades for 18 years and did safety training also for the last 8. I've done a ton of safety training. So I'm going to share with you what I've learned about making job sites safer while keeping things productive and a quality product. All right, you can't just have safety, you'll go out of business. All right, you can't just have productivity and quality without safety. You'll have too many claims. All right, you got to do all three. So we're going to talk today about how you make job sites safer by over-communicating, communicating well, delegating, respectful interruption. We're going to do a little exercise later on how do you respectfully interrupt somebody. This is something the safety people talk about. I want to give you my angle on it and give you some very concrete skills that you can use. And how do you increase productivity while maintaining high safety, and how do you maintain high quality work? There's a perception that if you're safe and you value safety, that everything takes a lot longer. Sometimes it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And it's way more trouble to mop up the mess or handle an injury or a death than it is to take the extra time to do things. What's a thought? What's a feeling you have about being here in this room? Maybe you're happy, just happy to be out of the cold. I don't know what, but let's hear a couple thoughts from somebody.
Happy to be out of the parking garage.
Happy to be out of the parking garage, Ted.
Make safety personal.
Making safety personal. What else? And I'm okay with you saying, I'm bored, I don't want to be here. That'd be a hard thing to say, but whatever's on your mind, I want to hear the real stuff. What do we got in the room? Anything else?
Continuously getting better, continuous improvement.
Continuously getting better. Thank you. Thank you. So there's probably a lot of different feelings. Thank you for sharing. Again, my background, I've sold and done safety training with demo saws, cut and break saws, chop saws, diamond chain saws. That's the world that I've been in for 18 years. And I've run the tools, trained in the tools, and I still have a lot to learn. I am a beginner in many ways when it comes to safety, and I don't have near the infield experience most of you have. That's why I'm doing this, because I care about people and I want to help you guys be safer, every one of you. That's why I'm doing it. And I want to avoid this. There's a little blood, I'll warn you. There's a little blood coming. I have a few slides I just want to show you. I know every one of these. I have probably more stories, debatably, than anyone in the country on how people get injured cutting pipe with a demo saw. And I got pictures. This guy was from Minneapolis. Got a diamond blade in the bicep. Guy's from Wisconsin. This guy actually is from Nebraska. This guy was working on a project in Las Vegas. Cutting pipe with a demo saw. It came back Every year, 12 to 15 people are killed by that saw cutting pipe in the United States of America. And depending on the year, that's half or a third or a quarter as many people that die in trenching. It's a little known fact. You will, but we all know it's not the saw. It's the way you use it, and it's the culture you build around. All right? And you guys are, many of you guys are seasoned, but I know you got new guys coming in, and you want to be able to communicate to the new guys. That's why I understand there's a lot of leaders in the room, soups and foremen, to train and teach the new guys. It pinched, it kicked back, it got him in the throat. The guy said he walked out of the hole with a lot of blood, and he took about 10 steps, game over. Will never again see his 3 daughters, never again see his wife. Imagine if something like that happens to you or someone you know, working for one of your companies, you will never forget that. That will be one of the worst days of your life. So that hit me very personally, and I told my brother Dan we've got to do some training. So I started out just doing a ton of demo saw safety, and I've trained over 7,500 right now. That's a guy in Denver, Colorado. The saw is not on. You would not want to stand that close to a saw that powerful. These saws get more powerful every time they make a new one. A little more torque, a little more RPMs. And I know you guys use them sometimes without thinking about it. It's like picking up a grinder or picking up a handsaw. You just grab that thing and cut. You don't always think about the potential power in that saw. So I'm partly here just to remind you of that. And what I learned, the lessons I learned, was that injuries and communication and culture are all related. The way people treat each other matters. And I did this by just observing, because all the different places I went, in Nebraska, Colorado, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, everywhere I went, I observed the culture. I observed the way people treated each other, the way they talked to each other, and I asked the safety guys, what's your mod rate? How many injuries are you having per year? What's been the track record? Where people were more respectful, the way you guys are right now, I'm very impressed with the culture, that you're listening, nobody's on their cell phone, nobody's chatting with their neighbor. You know, I've trained a lot of different places. About a quarter of them, somebody's talking. Sometimes I have to interrupt, right, and give a little order in the room. The places where there's less order, there's more injuries. No surprise, right? Places where people are attentive. So culture, communication, care for each other matters, and the way you communicate matters. So that's why today we're going to focus on communication, talking with each other, listening to each other. How do we do that? In a way that's practical. The guy was cutting 30-inch concrete pipe on the ground, thought the pipe wouldn't move. The pipe moved. His final cut, the pipe dropped, pinched on the blade, the saw flew out of his hand, steel saw, landed on the ground, kept moving and rolled over his right foot, almost cut that right foot in half. That was that injury. Guy didn't walk on that foot for 6 months. Probably a $600,000 injury. He still can't walk right. He can barely climb up in the excavator. And there's an interesting twist to this story. He was an excavator driver. On that job site that day, he was the top dog. He had the top rank. All right. And he had the saw above his shoulders. Dan's shaking his head. He can hardly believe it. He did. Saw above his shoulders, and no one corrected him. Partly no one corrected him because he was the top dog. And that's what happened to that guy that day. All right, so I want to make sure, and I'm quite sure that your leaders here that I've met with and talked with would want any one of you to interrupt anyone who's doing something that wrong on a job, that's something that unsafe on a job site. Every one of you has the permission to interrupt that. Am I right? Let's see what they have. So the sender sends the message, the receiver's just receiving it, right? That's good communication, right? You send them a message, you receive the message. What do we got, sir?
Sometimes you end up in Gary, Indiana, and that's all that happens.
All right. Sometimes you end up in Gary, Indiana, and that's all that happens. Not bad. But what I said to this gentleman was, you know how it goes. Sometimes you start off headed for Rome, and you end up in Gary, Indiana. Let's give some rope to a hand. Nice job.